legit. No joke. He was the voice of an entire generation of Trailblazers basketball fans, and that definitely will be remembered forever. That's the interesting part about being in this business in particular. And I said it when my grandpa passed away. He was a musician, and it's like he may be gone, but his music lives on forever, right? All you gotta do is go hit the MP3 or grab your phone, or some of us still play CDs, and you put Grandpa's music in there and you just listen to it, right? And it's the same thing with Wheels, and we still get the chance to listen to his calls every single night. And that's all you gotta do is go to YouTube and type it in, and there's some highlights. And I know the captain Rich Patterson has put together a great montage that they're gonna air on the Blazers pregame show with Chad Doing here in just a little bit. I got some calls too, but I know that I got plenty of Wheels memory, and Brendan Slaughter sitting in today in the producer chair. I'm going to bring him in here in a second to see if he has some stories to share too. But I know for me, you just remember all of them, right? But I think as a kid, you know how like for a while Kobe was a thing. Like anytime you shot something into the garbage can, it was Kobe whenever you made it. Like I feel like there's also like anytime you dunked, right? Even if it was like a little Nerf ball and your little Nerf hoop out in your mom's living room, it was, Batum Shakalaka. You felt like you were Batum, right? Or just his Boom Shakalaka, however you wanted to do it. It was great. And I love that. You had the Boom Shakalaka, which was a thing, and then you get Batum, and easy. Batum Shakalaka, and there it is. And then, of course, it's a great day to be a Blazer is one. It's just call after call after call, and baffled, bewildered, bemused, right? It was amazing to listen to him make these calls. And I said this, that he is one of the greatest play-by-play voices of all time. And that is not saying he's one of the greatest Blazer voices of all time or one of the greatest basketball voices of all time. I will put his work up against anybody's across all sports. One of the greatest voices of all time. Absolutely incredible what he was able to do. And again, the outpouring of support has been phenomenal. And I did see a tweet out there about it, and that was, I hope that Wheels in his time here knew how much he was loved, and that this city absolutely loved listening to him call Blazers basketball games, because they did. And I know for me, one memory that sticks in my mind was, the .9 shot, the historic .9 shot. I had just moved into my new house in Vancouver, my wife and I's first house. And so I'm still unpacking boxes, don't have cable set up, don't have anything. And the Blazers are playing. And if they won that game, then my boss, who was usually going to travel to the next playoff series, he couldn't go to San Antonio. He couldn't go. So I needed the Blazers to win that game, because if they won that game in particular, then I got to go on my very first road trip, and I was stoked. So I'm sitting there, we're unpacking, and I'm like, babe, we got to find where the radio is. So we just start unpacking boxes, and we find the radio, and we plug it in, just fingers crossed, hoping it works. And it did. We were lucky enough the radio was still in working order. So we find the radio station, game is just about to tip off, and we listen to the entire radio call. And I am on my hands and knees in the kitchen when the shot happened. And let's see if I got some audio of it. Hopefully this works. Let's see. Oh, yeah, take a listen to this.
So in case the Blazers go for a two to their best player, Howard is defending him. Batum throws to Lillard. A three for the game. Bang!
Boom! That boy is special.
You've got to pinch me. I must be dreaming.
I'll pinch you.
In an absolutely incredible first-round playoff series that ends in the most dramatic way possible. Damian Lillard takes an inbounds pass from Nicola Batum and nails a three-pointer. There was absolutely no doubt Chandler Parsons ran at him late, but far too late. And Lillard connects as the horn sounds, and the Blazers walk off the court winners 99-98. And for the first time in 14 years, the Blazers have won a playoff series, and they couldn't have done it in a more thrilling fashion.
That call. That was absolutely amazing. And again, I remember sitting in my kitchen. I am on my hands and knees putting Tupperware away and just setting this, and he hits that shot, and I just jump up, about hit my head on the ceiling. And they weren't the low ceilings. I was just that excited. Probably the highest vert I've ever had. And I'm just like, babe, I'm going to San Antonio. And like, I mean, I was just amazed. Just one more time. I'm not going to listen to the whole thing. Just listen to this again.
Howard is defending Aldridge. So in case the Blazers go for a two to their best player, Howard is defending him. Batum throws to Lillard. A three for the game. Bang!
That's so good. And the reason I played that out for a second, and Brendan knows, he gets to work with another great play-by-play voice in the legendary Mike Parker there at Oregon State. But your job as a radio guy is to paint the picture, right? And sometimes your silence does the best job at doing that. So he yells, bang! And then there's like 10, 15 seconds of just letting the crowd paint the picture for you, right? And then you get Tone in there like, that boy is special, right? Pinch me. I'll pinch you. Like, and then you carry on. But sometimes you just got to be quiet and let the crowd speak, and that's what they did there. And again, that's one of his great calls among many, and we'll play some throughout the show today. But let's bring in my boy Brendan Slaughter. Brendan, the Butcher and the Slaughter is not used to this time slot, my man. We're not working together
weird,
at yeah, we're not working together at 5 o'clock in the morning, so here we are, though. But you are of the generation, too, where I'm sure you remember many a legendary call from Wheels. Want to know if you have any memories of listening to Blazer games on radio with him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, more than I could remember. I can't, just to name one. Like, you played one of my favorites, obviously, the Dame game winner, Houston. That stands out so much. I can remember when I was in high school and we were taking a bus back from an athletic event, and the whole team would want to ask the bus driver to put Wheels on. I believe that was the Dallas series. I want to say 2011. And I can just remember like my entire team and I were sitting there on the bus listening to Wheels in the Blazers playoffs, Brandon Roy, the Natural, all that. So yeah, I mean, when I heard the news, it was extremely, sad to hear because, he was a huge part of me growing up with Blazer games. I mean, I was, very lucky to be here and go to a handful of Blazer games, listen to a handful of Blazer games, in the car and all those things growing up. And we definitely lost an icon, Chris. I mean, it's his calls, like you said, are so iconic. And right. I just, before you brought me on, I was just looking on YouTube, and it's like, oh, you could just Google Brian Wheeler calls, and there's eons of them. I mean, it's just awesome, man. His legacy will definitely resonate for a long time.
Yeah, and there's plenty of people who do radio and don't have that voice like that. Like, we've heard them, like, they're good, but they don't have that voice that's just powerful. Like, his voice was just powerful, man, and it made a great call. And like I said, when you can sit there and you can let the silence do that, and like you said, that's one of your favorite calls, and I think everyone can close their eyes and replay that all the time. And Brandon Roy's against the Rockets as well, and it's just call after call after call of his, and there's too many, quite honestly, because I don't know if there was a bad one. When I was looking for Wheels highlights, what amazed me is that everyone has the games that you remember, right? You remember the Houston game. You remember Brandon Roy. You remember all the game winners. And a game winner, to be quite frankly, it's easy to call a big, boisterous, booming call, right? Oh, he hits it! But what made Wheeler amazing is when you find the clip of some random regular season game, and it's not the game winner, it's just a really good play, and he calls it like it's Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Every single game was like that, and it brought that energy, which made, again, listening to Blazer games on the radio with Wheels absolutely phenomenal. And let's just be completely honest, Blazer fans. I know it hurts that you lost him, and he was great, but you've been blessed because to have the Shawns and to have Wheels and Travis right now, who's doing an absolutely phenomenal job doing it as well. You've had a pretty dang good run of Blazer play-by-play voices. And and Travis, he's in the infancy of his NBA play-by-play career when you compare him to those two. And when those two started, it was like, oh, what's going on? And then by the time they were done, they were absolute legends in this city. No doubt Travis will be one too. All right, we're going to take a quick little break here on Blazers Game Day. When we come back, we're going to share some more Wheels stories. We're going to see if we can find some coach audio, too. We got to head down to the coach's corner, hear what Coach Billups had to say following those back-to-back losses on the road. And we'll continue to get you ready for the Memphis Grizzlies here as the Blazers return home to take on the Grizz. Chris Burkhardt here, joined with super producer Brendan Slaughter today, right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. We're having some fun here. We're sharing some stories of Brian Wheeler. We're going to get to some other elements of the show, have some fun. But, man, like I said, this is dedicated to Wheels, who unfortunately passed away and was one of, if not the greatest voice ever, man. He was so darn good. It was absolutely incredible just to take the time to listen to him and have all the memories in your banks of all the great calls that he had. And like I said earlier, what made him special is, man, it didn't matter if it was game 1 of the preseason or game 7 of the finals, man. He was just on it and brought that energy, like this call right here.
Blake to inbound. The Blazers have a 20-second timeout. Nate McMillan deciding whether to use it. Blake now throws to Roy. Brandon, a three-pointer out front. Hit it! Yes, he did! Oh, yeah!
Wow! Are you kidding me?
The natural buries a 30-footer at the buzzer. And the Blazers run off the court. A winner by 2.
Oh, Antonio in Minnesota. And let me tell you how quirky this scheduling is for the Blazers this year. I mean, they get the Pelicans 3 times in like their first 5-6 games, and now they played the final road game was against Minnesota, and after this game they got a twofer back-to-back against Minnesota where they played like 3 games, basically 3 of 5 games against Minnesota, like boom, right there. Like that's I mean, yeah, I guess it's cool to get Ant Edwards out of the way so you don't have to deal with him later, but my goodness, mix it up a little bit, NBA. I don't know what you're doing. All right, we got to head back to Minnesota. I like to jump in the DeLorean here now and then, Brendan, and go back in time to hear what Coach Billups said after the game. It is time for the Coach's Corner. It is now time for the Coach's Corner, so let's hear what Coach Billups had to say following that 127-102 loss to the Timberwolves.
Coach, that was a very good team. How did you feel like you guys responded? How did you feel you responded to their runs?
A couple of them we did okay. I mean, obviously we got off to a tough start in the game. You know, they jump out on us, caught opportunities. It took us a while to even score, you know. We had some good looks in that first quarter, and it was just kind of deflating when we couldn't make them, you know, and they were coming down, and that team, they was on fire from 3 in the first half. You know, they kind of stayed that way. It's a great shooting team. You know, they make 22 threes. It makes it tough. But I thought we got ourselves back in the game, you know. Our defense really started humming a little bit. It was a stretch that we got 7 or 8 straight stops. And, you know, we tried to live on that momentum for a little bit, come back out in the third quarter, you know, and we just could never really score at the level you need to against a team like this, you know, and that was not just us not making shots. They're that good of a defensive team. Took us out of a lot of our things with their physicality, you know. So a lot of things I think that we could learn from in playing this team.
Rob Williams hits his first 3 of his career and comes in and makes an impact. What did you think of his performance?
Yeah. Rob was, again, you know, you guys have heard me talk about how much I'm excited to coach Rob and have Rob available. Now you all got a chance to see why we all love Rob. You know, defensively, he's all over the place. He's vocal. He's talking his activity, rebounds, blocks shots. He kind of does it all. Got a knack for it. And then on the other end, you know, you never look at him as a three-point threat, you know, but he stepped up and knocked that one down. But it's more about the energy he gives the team, you know, on the offensive end. You throw it to him, he's throwing it right back in the next action play, or he's swinging it to the other side of the floor, running and setting the screen. He actually sets real screens. He sets hard screens, you know, and I think our guards really appreciated that part. So again, like, we can learn a lot from him. You know, Donovan is going to learn a lot from him. DA can learn a lot from him in terms of just his activity at all times.
Between Rob and Shane, just your thoughts on getting those 2 guys back on this trip and just getting healthier. I mean, now you're basically down to Matisse, who seems like he's also kind of getting close, and then you have a full squad.
Yeah, it's good to get those guys back. It's always tough when you get new guys back that will be in your rotation. For the most part, it throws off your rotation. So our rotation the last couple games it's been a little wonky. Just trying to get guys in there, and you want to get them in, and there's also many restrictions. There's all kind of things that you have to deal with that make it tough to kind of get a rhythm. But it is good. It's obviously really good to have Shaden back and have Rob back, and hopefully we can keep everybody healthy, and then we can try to start finding what the real rotation will look like.
You had mentioned that it's hard to play three centers, which it absolutely is. What were the instances tonight that allowed you to get Rob into the game?
Well, some teams play really big. This is one of them. They play pretty big. That allows us the opportunity to do it some. I think just having Rob out there and having a chance to play him is just advantageous for us. It just helps us out. We need what he does. And obviously it changes some of the things that we will run offensively. Having two centers out there, it makes it a little difficult. And it's going to take us a little time to get used to it. But he does so many winning things out there that you just need, So it'll take us a little while to kind of get used to it. And there'll be some nights that it doesn't happen, that we won't play that way based on matchups. But some teams, they present opportunities for you to do so.
There you hear from Coach Billups following that game in Minnesota. And it is nice to have Robert Williams back, isn't it? And Shaden Sharp on that trip. Blazer fans getting a chance to see them make their home debuts tonight, so that'll be nice. I mean, Rob, you're like, okay, he's active. Why isn't he playing? And then he got in. He looked good. He looked good. And then Shea, I think once he shakes off the rust, he's definitely going to be an offensive weapon for this team without a doubt. And speaking of Shea, did get some word. I know that usually that's the Coach's Corner segment. Usually we're playing the audio from Moda, but we had some crazy snafus today and don't have the pipe into his press conference live. Right, but according to our Sean Hyken, who was just down there during his press conference, Shaden Sharp will replace Denny Avdia in the starting lineup tonight. People were talking about who would he replace if he gets in there. Tumani Kamara had been starting at the 2, and again, I think this one makes sense. Denny is still a very good player. Obviously, you want him, but Tumani has played so well that you got to keep him in there, and so it allows him to be that small forward, get out there, guard, and then it lets Shea just kind of be an offensive weapon. So it'll be interesting to see how they look in that starting lineup tonight. All right, we'll take a quick break here on Blazers Game Day. When we come back, it's time for our Coors Cold Hard Facts. See if I got some facts for you. Oh, yeah, I do. It's going to be pretty easy. Don't go anywhere. We'll continue to get you ready for Blazers Grizzlies and share some Brian Wheeler clips here on Blazers Game Day on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back in to Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. Big shout out to the captain, Rich Patterson, for letting me invade his space to host a show in Studio C today. We had internet issues upstairs. He says you're welcome, fans. So he's the best. He is the best. But no, we had some little internet issues, but we got the show up and running. Brendan was probably sweating bullets on his first run on game day, but he's doing wonderful. And Brendan, I'm teaching him. I call for things, he pushes buttons. He's really, really good at that. And it's time now, Brendan, for our Coors Cold Hard Facts. I realized that came out wrong, by the way, Brendan. You are much more important than pushing buttons, okay? I was just trying to make some quick on-air joke, and I think it fell flat. I apologize for that one right there. But no, Brendan is phenomenal. I'm excited to get to work with the Slaughter. And Brendan, I hope you're excited to be getting to do some more Blazer games. You got to buff up on your NBA basketball, though, right?
Oh, yeah. And no, Chris, of course. All in good fun, buddy. You know I love you. And, Butcher and Slaughter forever, man. But, I'm extremely thrilled and, super optimistic about what the future's going to hold. I'm kind of was kind of a bit of a zombie in the sense of working direct opposite hours of you, so I never saw you. We didn't really talk all that much other than just, right. Hey, how's it going? What's up? This, that. So, I'm excited to work some games with you. And, it's been a minute since I've been to a Blazer game, too. So, excited for all that.
Well, there you go. I always joke with people because the NBA is like 90% of my focus in sports, always has been. And the amount of times I would fill in for the morning show or fill in for Chad, and I would mean to say Russell Wilson, and I would accidentally say Russell Westbrook just because my brain is so
Makes
NBA
sense.
wired. So I'm gonna wait for the minute that you mean to say Blazers, but you accidentally say Beavers.
I mean, it could come. I mean, although, Chris, I'm kind of just starting to put that part of my sports covering aspect a little bit in the rear view and starting to put the Blazers into the front view, if you know what I'm saying.
Hey, that's a smart thing to do. All right, back on track, though. It is time for our cold, hard facts. And I think it's, without debate. The fact is Brian Wheeler was one of the best to ever do it. And I'm going to say it again. It wasn't just when it came to sitting in the Blazer seat, and it wasn't just sitting in an NBA seat. It was just sitting in a sports play-by-play seat. He was an absolute legend, and every single call of his, I think, was good enough to, get the hair to stand up. It was absolutely incredible. And over at Rip City Radio, we did put together a little montage that we put on our YouTube page. And if you haven't had a chance to listen, go give it a listen, go watch it, but also just tune in right now because you're going to listen to it here.
Throws to Roy. Brandon is at a three. Roy now far side against Felton. Brandon leans in. He's fouled. They don't call. He hit it. He hit the three. Timeout Denver. 5.8 seconds remaining in regulation. Oh, Felton nearly fouled Roy. They didn't call that, but the natural hits a lean-in three, and he's tied the score at 97. Now near side bounce to Batum on the move. Across the lane to Matthews. A three for the tie. Bang! Paul! What a magnificent play set up during the timeout. And Matthews was by himself in front of the Miami bench to tie the score at 88. Bounce to Matthews. Matthews 10 to shoot. Matthews against Allen. A three for the lead. Yes! Yes, he did! 26.7 seconds left. Eric Spoelstra disdains the timeout. Blake to inbound. The Blazers have a 20-second timeout. Nate McMillan deciding whether to use it. Blake now throws to Roy. Brandon, a three-pointer out front. Hit it! Yes, he did! Oh, yeah!
Wow! Are you kidding me?
The natural buries a 30-footer at the buzzer. And the Blazers run off the court. A winner by 2. And Howard is defending Aldridge. So in case the Blazers go for a 2 to their best player, Howard is defending him. Batum throws to Lillard. A 3 for the game. Bang!
Boom! That boy is special.
You've got to pinch me. I must be dreaming.
I'll pinch you.
In an absolutely incredible first-round playoff series that ends in the most dramatic way possible. Damian Lillard takes an inbounds pass from Nicola Batum and nails a three-pointer. There was absolutely no doubt Chandler Parsons ran at him late, but far too late. And Lillard connects as the horn sounds, and the Blazers walk off the court winners 99-98. And for the first time in 14 years, the Blazers have won a playoff series, and they couldn't have done it in a more thrilling fashion. Barnes bounce pass to Nash. Nash now backs it up, leans in, had the ball knocked away, got it back, and then takes the quick two. He missed it! Roy the rebound. 2 seconds. They don't even bother to foul. Game over! And so is the 11-game losing streak to Phoenix, as we can once again say, it's a great day to be a Blazer.
And there you have a little bit of a highlight reel from the legendary Brian Wheeler, just known as Wheels. Like when you get the one word, one name nickname, like that's how you know, like, you're legendary. Wheels. I like that. That's awesome, man. And again, that's a cold hard fact. A legend among legends. He was so incredible, and he will be missed. That is for sure. Now, I want to get into the YouTube comments here for a section where my man Kirk, who I respect and love, who always just likes to go against me, though. That's just what we do. He does not like the fact that Toumani Camara is replacing Denny in the starting lineup today, and comes at me with a Toumani is more important than Scoot and Denny. That's a joke. And as I said, I don't get that at all. Toumani Camara has more than earned his spot. You come in as the second round pick, the throw in a Damian Lillard deal. You come in, take advantage of it, and you earn your minutes. Kudos to him, right? That's phenomenal. He deserves every single minute he gets. And if you put him in your lineup ahead of Scoot, like, do you want Scoot to progress? Absolutely you do. But Toumani Camara has been incredible. And to say, oh, he's only averaging 8 points, well, okay, cool. The offensive game is not his strength. He is a defensive stomper. And I've said this many a time. He is the most fun I have had watching a guy play defense since Wesley Matthews left. Wesley Matthews was the very first player that I covered where I looked at my coworkers and said, gosh, watching him play defense is fun. And that says something about how good he is on that end. Right? And Toumani's doing the exact same thing. So you want to out there. You want to develop him. He can be a part of this future. I think he's definitely part of this future. I thought he was a MVP of the team in the preseason. I thought he's been an MVP of the team early on. He's incredible. Now, if he averages 8 points a game, that's fine. Okay? Look at the Golden State Warriors for a second. They have had an absolutely elite run. They have won championships, and they have had chemistry that's some of the best we've ever seen. And a major part of that, if not the key cog in that entire system, was the prime run of Draymond Green. And why? Because Draymond Green was probably the best defender in the league for a short time there. His ability to get rebounds and push tempo, which was huge for that offense, and those are things that you see guys like Toumani try to do. And the entire time that they were out there outscoring cats like crazy, Draymond Green was averaging 8 points a game. A career 8.7 points per game. The most he ever averaged was 14. Okay? So the offensive side of the ball, again, not his calling card. That doesn't make him bad. It just means that's not his calling card. You put him where he's going to excel, which was on the defensive side, running the offense on the fast break, getting the rebounds, locking cats up. That's what Toumani does. So again, I don't see any problem with Toumani Camara being in the starting lineup over Denny Avdia right now, right? And Scoot, you still are trying to develop him and figure that bad boy out. And I get it. You know, you could have started Scoot and Ant together instead of Toumani Camara. But if you're looking at the situation with Shaedon Sharpe out and you're like, okay, do I start Scoot next to Ant or do I go Ant and 2 Well, which one of those guys is going to earn the minutes? And Tamani Kamara obviously earned it. So I do not think that is a bad thing. That is opportunity knocked, and he opened the door, and good on him. Good on him. I absolutely love Tamani Kamara, and him being in the lineup right now, it's not an indication against Scoot or anything else. I mean, he's going to slide into the small forward lineup anyway right now because Shaedon Sharpe is a stud. He's a stud, and you want him on the court. And guess what? I think Scoot's been fine. Scoot's coming around. He's been having some decent games, playing well. The development, we want it to be more, sure. But man, I am definitely not going to be upset at seeing Tamani Kamara. All right, going to take our final break here on Blazers Game Day. When we return, I'm going to give you our keys to the game. What do the Blazers need to do to pick up a win against the Memphis Grizzlies? I'll let you know when we come back from a quick break right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. It is now time for our keys to the game. Key to the game. Get Shaedon Sharpe involved. He's back. He's home. Lob it to him. Let him dunk it. Let's get excited. Let's have some fun. I'm excited to get a chance to see him back in person, see Robert Williams tonight. I say it in jest, but hey, it is a key to the game, really. Get him involved, get him going, continue to shake off that rust. I've said it before. I know they have Scoot as well, but I don't know if they drafted Scoot to be the guy. I think they drafted him to be, up there and be 1B, but I really think that behind closed doors, this team wants Shaedon to be their Batman. And if he can develop into a multifaceted shooting guard, and I've compared his play style to Tracy McGrady because he reminded me his rookie season a lot of a rookie Tracy McGrady. And if he develops anywhere like that and turns into a T-Mac type player, yeah, you got a pretty good one. T-Mac won a lot of games and was the all-star and face of the Magic and the Rockets, and I mean he was phenomenal. One of my all-time faves. And yeah, if you can develop and play like that, you're going to be pretty good. So I want to continue to see him build tonight. But for the Blazers, realistically, what they got to do in this one, they got to be smart and they got to get the ball moving. And maybe that helps when you get a little bit more offensive power in your lineup with a guy like Shea. But this team continues to struggle offensively when it comes to getting assists. Second worst assist numbers in the league right now at 20.9 per game. That is just slightly better than the 20.6 of the Philadelphia 76ers. Put that in contrast, Memphis is number 2 in the league, actually tied for number 1 with the Grizzlies at 30.2. So they averaged 10 more assists per game than the Blazers. So the Blazers are going to need to get the offense rolling, try to get those assist numbers up. And then, of course, they're going to have to defensively really, really lock in to try to limit the assists from Memphis, which is going to be tough because, like I said, they're a very, very well-oiled machine offensively. But you need to do that because if you get into a situation where the Blazers only have 16 assists, but Memphis is outpacing their average and they're at 36, I mean, that's a recipe for disaster in the long run. So you got to do your best to keep the ball moving. Be smart with it, too, obviously. You don't want to just try to pass the ball to pass the ball, right? You need to be smart, find your windows, and get the ball moving. I think the best the more you can get it moving around the horn and get guys like Shea and Ant open for those shots, that's smart. Obviously, it sounds so cliche. Oh, take open shots and be smart. But, like, you have to. It's something that this team has not done well. And we've seen games where they do it well. And when they do, it tends to lead to really good performances, right? And that's what we want to see here tonight. Of course, Memphis will be without Ja Morant, who took a nasty little spill against the Lakers a few nights ago. Had a hip subluxation, I believe, and multiple hip strains. And I mean, a hip subluxation without dislocation is huge. Obviously, I mean, I've had multiple, probably 24 shoulder subluxations. They are not fun at all. So the hip ones got to be brutal. And as Sean Highkin pointed out pregame in his little recap or his preview, Ja hasn't played in Portland in over 2 years. And he doesn't get to play tonight. All right, the music's on. That means it's time to go, but don't worry. Chad Dewing has your Blazers pregame show on the Blazers Audio Network coming up next. And then 6 o'clock tip-off right here on Rip City Radio 620. Travis Demers has the call. Thank you, everybody. But be sure to tune in after the game, too, for the 5th quarter, where hopefully we're breaking down a Blazer victory. And before we go, win or lose tonight, it's a great day to be a Blazer. All right, go home. Go home. But yeah, the only tough part, it's not tough. You just gotta have a good like earbuds or something with a mic is taking phone calls in the 5th quarter remotely. So you got to have which is fine. Which is fine. I do it, but I just have like my earphones, and then you can answer it from your call screener on your laptop, and then answer it with the phone. You just got to make sure the audio is set up right to do so, and Shacker can help you out with that. That's the only thing you really have to learn, because other than that, as long as you're plugged into and connected to the next gen computer, you know what to do. So. Yeah. So yeah, that's the only thing you need to do, and other than that, it's good to go. And then plus, if you're sitting next to me remotely, that's even better, because then you're going to want earphones to obviously monitor station feed to make sure we're on air. But like, you don't have to listen for cues or anything. It's just easy for you to cut breaks and all that stuff. So. Yeah, so I mean, I can talk to Chad, because then he can send an email out to PR, see if we. Well, I hate to break it. I hate to break it to you, my man, but hey, I hate to break it to you, but like, football's been over since like week 3. Okay. Hey, you know what I can't stand right now, and you're gonna agree with me because you can't stand them all the time, but Duck fan, because I cannot stand that Duck fan is mad that they looked bad on Saturday and still won by 4 scores. They won 39-18. Like, I get that you're trying to put a high standard on your own team, but like, even Dan Lanning, all he cares is winning. Winning is what matters, right? The guys. All right, man. Have a good one.